Yike! Well, welcome, folks, and welcome to Mower Mike's Garage. Today is going to be a little bit different because we're not going to talk about lawnmowers at all. No, we're actually going to cut glass today. Yes, I said cut glass. Now, a few weeks ago, I ordered something weird online. I ordered this Amazon glass cutter for like $19 because I've got all these glass bottles and I hate wasting them. So I thought, hey, maybe I can cut the tops off them, do all sorts of weird stuff with them. And oh my gosh, this is one of the funnest things I've ever done in my entire life. Yep, that's how I get my thrills. Now, what can you do with cut glass? Well, you can do anything you want. You can make little fancy honey candles like this out of bottles, or maybe a Cabo Wabo candle, or even you could just make big old glasses for the piss off the wife, because you got all sorts of designs on here that do not match. So yes, it's a whole lot of fun. Now what we're going to use my glass cutting machine, and all this does is actually score the bottles all the way around evenly. That way we can cut it. And when we actually cut it, we're not going to cut. What we're going to use boiling hot water and then ice. And we're going to let the magic happen. God really do his work. All right, so to get started, there's two ways to cut glass. Now, the first way that we all know of to cut glass, you just break it. Yeah, and that works, but it makes a bit of a mess. So I don't recommend that. I just made a mess. Now, the second way is more controlled, where we're going to actually etch around the sides here, and I'm going to show you how to break it. So with that goofy intro, let's go ahead and zoom in, and I'm going to clean up a little bit before I cut my feet. All right, kiddos, what a backdrop. Now, the first part to breaking glass under control, not like the last way we did it, is we want to score the glass. And what scoring means is that you put a scratch all the way around it where you want that glass to break, and that's going to give it a little weak spot. Now, there's a couple ways to score it. You can do it by hand if you want to just kind of do some cool designs and make it break that way, but for this, because I'm making cups, I'm making fancy candles, all sorts of Christmas presents, I want to score it very evenly all the way around, and that way we have a very flush cut. Now, I've got this tool off Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks. I'll put the link below, but this thing is super, super cool. And what it allows you to do is score it very evenly. Right here, you got a little cutter wheel, and what that is, it's actually a little roller right there in the very tip. It's kind of hard to see. It's a tiny little roller. And what that does, it rubs it a little weak spot all the way around it. And with these wheels on there, it allows you to turn it. It makes a very good cut. So what I'm going to do, in order to do it, you've got to put some pressure. You want to put even pressure on it as we turn it. So I'm going to go ahead and, there you go. And when you put pressure on it, you're going to hear it just kind of, it's kind of like fingers going against a chalkboard. You can come all the way around, like I'm putting probably 15 pounds of pressure. Now, when you score glass, you only want to do it once. When you come all the way around, you're going to feel it when it goes back up, see, and it gets real rough. You don't want to do it twice, so just one score all the way around there. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm scoring it right here. You can see there's a little lip right here. When I cut the glass, I like to put it right on the lip. That way it gives a little lip, kind of like a professional cup, you know what I mean? All right, so now we've got it scored. Next, I'm going to boil some water, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to slice off the top of that glass. Yep, it's coming. Stay tuned. All right, so now we get to do the super, super fun part of actually breaking the glass. And we're not actually going to break it. We're going to let physics break it for us. How cool is that? Because we're going to do this method, which I'm going to call the hot boiling frogs in a bucket method to the freezing cold nuts in the stomach method. So we're going to go hot cold. And what that's going to do is when it gets hot, the molecules spread out. So picture like a hot day on a beach. You got a bunch of midgets, it gets hot, everybody kind of spreads out. But then when you dunk everybody in the freezing cold, like all the midgets go in an igloo, they all gang up and they start fighting, and then bam, glass breaks. So that's my theory. I know nothing about physics, but that's what I think. So, all right. So we got our boiling hot water, and all you do, first of all, put some eye protection on in case this glass completely shatters. But yeah, you want to cover it up so the part with the actual cut in it gets super, super hot. Now, I've had them where As soon as I take it out, the top just falls off. So we're gonna see what happens here. Oh man, I wish I had some more light. All right, it's getting pretty freaking hot in my hands. All right, so now we're gonna go into the, come on, such a freaking amateur. I felt it, I felt something crack. Let's see, well, all right, let's go back in here. Sometimes you gotta do this a couple times. Is this gonna work? I sure hope so. The key is to get it to crack along that crevice. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. That sucker just fell off of there. Let me go ahead and fish out the top. That is so cool. Now this is gonna be super, super hot. Let me see if I can do it without totally burning myself, which is always a fun time. Come on, come on. This thing is just disintegrating in here. Anyways, well, I'm not gonna dip my hand in boiling water. But what you can see here is that we've got a great even cut along the top. I didn't cut that. That was just freaking Mother Nature breaking that glass. So what do we do next? Well, we move this stuff, and then all we do is we put a good sanding on it. Now, I like to start with a sandpaper. Usually this one's 120 grit, mid 100s, and it helps to put a little water on the sandpaper. That way you're not gonna get any of that glass dust in your lungs, because you don't want glass dust in your lungs. You just go like this. Kind of sand it, sand it, sand it. And then once you get the main edge, then come along and just go like this. Super easy, you know. Well, you see, I'm getting pretty excited. You just go along until it evens out. It really doesn't take too long. So there you go. You see, it wasn't perfect, but eventually you'll end up with a cup like this, and you can use it for anything you want. So folks, that is how you break glass with the Amazon Glass Bottle Breaker. Hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Now, this is not an exact science. You're gonna screw some up. They're not always gonna break in the same spot, but they're just freaking empty bottles you can throw out anyways. So get yourself a glass breaker, start breaking some stuff, and start smiling. So with that, we'll be back next week with a mower video or something else. Shoot, I don't know. We may get weird.